Hi guys, today's video is about something different, trading and making money trading. Maybe I could help somebody. What I was thinking is maybe I could help somebody in this way, setting up their computers and platforms right here in New York City. I could come to you and set up your computers and show you how to trade, or I could do it by Zoom call or by email. It's not that difficult. It's just difficult to become a good trader. So the video is basically about um, older people sitting at home with nothing to do. And a lot of them I notice really want to learn something or take up a hobby or learn some kind of business where they can make some side money. Um, so I don't want this whole channel to be about trading. The one thing I notice about traders is they're very greedy. Trading isn't really about doing anything, really. It's just making money and being able to detect which way a stock is going, up or down. These are the real basics. So the videos for older people are people that really just want to learn. And I'm here to give you my knowledge. Of course, you know my situation. So maybe the 70-year-old that wants to make some extra money, or the 30-year-old that really wants to learn. Um, so I wrote down some talking points for this. Now, trading first is risky, but overall, if you know what you're doing, you're gonna win, but not every trade. So, first thing is risk management. You could start a trading account with like 20 bucks. Those are called that is called having a cash account, meaning you could only go in long on a stock. So in other words, if a stock comes out with really good news, solid, confirmable, real news, they come up with a cure for cancer or something, a pharmaceutical company, it's going to go up most of the time, not always. So your 20 bucks turns into 50 or 80. You get out and you just wait till the next day. And then there's margin accounts. Margin accounts is when you could actually borrow money from your broker. And there's a minimum for a margin account. There used to be a PDT rule, where you could only have 3 trades per day, man. But now it's $2,000 to have a margin account through your broker. There's several different brokers that you could use, trading brokers, several different platforms. A lot of people I know use Thinkorswim, Charles Schwab, um, and basically beginners and some other things. But there's Webull. Webull is another one. They have a really great charting platform. But there's a lot of technology and education behind trading. So trading is not something you're just going to get into and like make $1 million the next day. It could happen. That could happen, and I've seen that happen. I had a couple of really great stocks that I analyzed. I just help others, friends that I developed on my Discord page, analyzing stocks. I don't have any money to go in to trade, but so the first thing is, and I wrote this down, is your setup. And I'll show you my little setup. Oh God, it's a mess right now. I'll show you my little setup. Yeah, I have several computers, but you don't need all that. You need one good one, and then monitors. The monitors are here because you want to be able to see things, different platforms. You want to see it in large print, like you want to be able to see and detect different platforms at the same time. Man. So, um, and so basically, you have to be able to analyze a stock. And now, what are you going to use to analyze a stock? You're going to use these different platforms. You can't just guess. This is not gambling. This is kind of like going to Nevada or Atlantic City and being able to see the dealer's cards when you're playing blackjack. You know, if you could see the dealer's cards when you're playing blackjack, you're you're gonna win overall. You're not gonna win every time because the dealer could come up with an ace and a 10 and have a blackjack right away when you're stuck on 15. But overall, you're gonna win. And my rating my average, I'm sorry, when I was trading, um, was about 80%. And even if you have a 60% win rate, you're winning overall. It's all risk management. So let me go on with what I wrote down here. Um, so now you have to organize your computers and your platforms, um, and your tools, and I'm gonna get into that. Your first one, which I would highly recommend, would be Benzinga Pro. Benzinga Pro is a news organization. It gives you real time or almost real time news that will pop up on your screen on a separate computer that you could tell, the factors involved of what this company is doing. It could come out with old news, it could come out with current news, recycled news, um, not so good news, but they kind of juice it up. And you could read this news, it will automatically come up. So you have your computer, your broker's account on a separate computer or monitor. And you could detect if this is going to be the stock you want to trade. Now, what I have set up is and I built my own my charting platform. So my charting platform is basically going to tell me price action, which way a stock is going. If I get into terminology, you might not understand me. ATR, price action, if it's above certain levels like VWAP and SMA 200, and you could be able to detect, pretty much on where this is going through that. You get support and resistance levels on a particular stock. It's kind of fun. So you have such things as this news is like an earnings report, FDA news, if they have a new contract or a press release. So the other thing here, I had, what did I do? So the other thing I want to talk about is scanners and stock trackers. And I personally used to use Trade Ideas. Trade Ideas will actually talk to you through your speakers, telling you which stock has a lot of volume and is going up. That's the way I set it up. So you could hear which stock just come up on the scan that's going up. So now you have the news that you could check, you hear the stock, and you have your broker's platform here. You're getting some clues as to, which particular stock is going this way or going this way. You're getting some clues so far. It's going to give you the price of the stock, the volume of this particular stock, relative volume, meaning how much volume this stock is currently performing at compared to the past, let's say, the past 14 days or 2 years or 3 months. So if there's a lot of activity in this stock, you're going to have to come to the conclusion that, this might be the one I want to get in on. The float size. This is important. The float means the amount of shares available to the public. If the float is very small, let's say there's a million shares available to the public. That's pretty small. So if somebody goes in with 100,000 shares, they're taking a tenth of this. So this stock is going to be kind of very volatile. Once that shows up, you're going to get a flood of other traders getting in, thinking the same thing I am right now. All right, so you have some unusual movement. And you could detect through these things that I'm talking about now. There's another thing, I don't really use it, it's called TradingView. TradingView is a charting platform, but they have a lot of indicators on kind of detecting on which way the stock is going to go, up, down, sideways. I also like to say that the time of day is very important. You have a pre-market which starts at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. is the pre-market. It's very volatile. Not a lot of traders around, but some things go really crazy. I've seen stocks go from $1 to over $100. Not even too long ago. So that means if you have 10 shares, at $1, it's $10, and now the stock is worth 100. So you figure out the math. You made a lot of money. All right. So what else do I have here? I built my own charting platform. I don't rely on TradingView. I have a TradingView, but my own chart is pre-built. It's much better, I think, for being able to detect volume, price action, these different indicators I have set up. Let's see what else. Oh, you have level 2. Now this is important. Level 2 is pinpointed to that particular stock. Level 2 is what's going to happen. It's predicting the future. It's telling you something about the future where you could see other people's orders at a certain price. So if you see a stock, that's sitting, that you have on your watch list or on your computer, and on level 2 you could see somebody's order, a prop firm order, or a big institution is placing orders on this. Somebody buying 500,000 shares at $3, and now it's at 295. So if it gets to 3, it's going to go. You're going to make some serious cash. Most of the time, not all of the time. Trading is risky, and sometimes this is kind of a fake level 2 orders. But there's such thing as like iceberg orders and dark pools, and there's a lot to know. So you have market orders, limit orders, stop orders, short selling, and position size. So there's kind of a lot. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about here is chat room alerts. I noticed that there's a lot of traders on YouTube and other social media things that they're just offering a quick buck, and they're not really making too much sense on their platforms. They're giving you a little bit of knowledge, but they're not giving you the overall picture on how to trade. Because in the morning, the first thing you want to do is check something like overnight futures. Futures go 24/7, kind of, and then before the market. If you don't know about trading, if you do, then maybe you'll understand what I'm saying. There's MOO, market on open. So market on open at 9:28 a.m., right before the market opens, you could pretty much see the way, the trend, overnight news, these little platforms that you have, which way this particular stock may be flying. And that's for a later note, because you want to be able to tell the trend hour, which is about 10 o'clock a.m. And you could see pretty much which way. So if a stock is $50, you could probably squeeze $5 profit out of it. It goes from 50 to 55 in about an hour. So if you have 1,000 shares of that, you're making $5,000, But anyway, so what else did I wanted to cover here? Now you want to put all this stuff together. There's a lot more platforms, and then what I was doing is building Pantheon programs that are connected to AI APIs that are, if you know, it gives you faster and real time market information. Be able to tell which way this baby goes. Now what I was thinking, I wrote down this. What I could do is I could help you set up your platform. I don't know what to charge. I have a few guys that I work with. Um, I don't want to mention their names, but they don't really have a lot of money. There's two of them that kind of have some money, but they don't go in very big. Going in very big means, they're not going in with 10,000 shares, and they might go in with 10 shares or 100 shares or maybe 1,000 shares if the stock is cheap enough. But and they throw me a couple bucks here and there, but it's not enough to live on. If I had the money, I could really trade and just make a living trading. Something I really rather do my artwork, as you can see in the back, and write my poetry and do my thing. But I'm getting older now, and I do this painting and plastering stuff, as if you've seen some of my other videos, which is really not lucrative at all. It just kind of keeps me active and pays the bills. But trading is really fun. It's an interesting thing. But my platforms I built is basically to detect, and there's several, of which way the stock is going. So between all of this stuff, you could pretty much detect. If I could help somebody, especially in New York, I go and help set up platforms, help them find the right computers and the different wires that you need to set everything up. Even maybe do some programming for them to be able to tell. I'm not allowed to trade for somebody else. That's not on the up and up. But I could certainly give people advice, and I could certainly teach people how to trade. I don't really have that kind of channel where, I'm promising, a quick buck. I don't have that kind of channel where I'm, just telling people that life is roses and you're gonna make millions of dollars. It could happen though. It could happen. And let me mention that the low float stocks, a lot of these guys, and you could detect it, is they're $1 or $3 in the morning. And you could see the volume and stuff. Some of these things, a few months ago, I saw one go from about $3 to, was it about $800? Could you imagine having that stock? I mean, with very little money, with like $10,000, you would have been a multi-millionaire in a day. But these things are very rare. Of course, you never really know if a stock is going to go up that high, but you could tell if it's going up or down, in a short-term basis. But then there's other things that you could detect of which way a stock is going. It constantly changes, and so so this is what I could teach, and I wrote stuff down. Is to learn what a chart is all about. A particular chart on that particular stock, how it actually works, how to put all this together, what the market is all about, and how to understand computers, understanding scanners. There's all different types of things that you could do with scanners. You could change them, for either a long or a short, something that you're going to go long in or something you're going to go in short on. You think this company is trash and the company's good. The stock price is going down. I don't claim to be the greatest trader on earth, but I'm pretty good. If I was the greatest trader, I wouldn't be sitting in the position I am. But if I had some money, I would definitely make it. But it takes a lot to really make that. If you want kind of like a foundation where you're going to make money overall, you're going to want to trade some better companies, like NVIDIA or Tesla. Tesla maybe not so good, but Apple. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of AI stocks. that have a reputation that is going to keep going up. Um, I want to note that there's also swing trading, day trading, and investing, and there's all kinds of other trading. Day trading is when you're in and out of a stock in the same day, the same hour, the same minute. You're only in and out scalping. And swing trading is more of a long term, not such a long term. Swing trading is basically you're going to hold on to the stock for, a day or a couple days or a few weeks. You have some information, you analyze the company, and you feel like it's going up, but not for a little while. Investing is something different. What I was doing with investing is when I was trading is just finding undervalued companies at a low price. And of course, there's some famous traders that you know about that do that and hold on to them for 10, 15, or even longer years. Uh, and then make $1 zillion and just keep parlaying that money over and over again. That's a great way to trade. 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds should really look into that. But you have to do your research. You have to do your research on some of this stuff. But anyway, if anybody out there wants to help me set up their computers or platforms, or what to get and how to get started, what to look out for, how to analyze a stock the right way in detail, not with just this, oh, get this stock, or relying on these crazy alerts. I used to have, and I still do, I have my little Discord where I go into this probably more in detail. Um, but I'm not really a great teacher. I don't think I could just pretty much tell you exactly what to do, how it's done. Um, and Anyway, so I'm getting a call I see on my phone, the top of my phone. So I have to do some things today. Anyway, if anybody is interested, I'll leave my email. My email is in my description, but I'll leave it again in the comments. And then if you have any ideas about videos that you want to see, I'm gonna go out a little later and do another walking tour of Central Park here, a little bit different, and I think that will be cool. I've been researching on some places I want to show you guys. Anyway, my name is Dan. They say like and subscribe and stuff. I never really did that, but that's about it for now. So I'll see you guys later. If you have any questions, you could email me. It's in the description, and I'll leave it again in the comments. I'll see you later, guys, in Central Park.